Okay, item 5C on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding request from the Lemurs to vacate 100 foot, now revised to 99 feet, of the unimproved portion of Elm Street, .11 acres west of Vine Street, and bounded by Block 26 and Block 27 of the original town site of Glen between 101 Northeast Vine, 104 Southwest Vine Street. Okay, so we have several people who would like to make some comments on this agenda. Okay, the first, Mr. Moore, did you, no, yes, Mr. Moore signed up. Do you have any questions or comments?
It's my time now.
Okay, Mr. Osborne, you have signed up for all things. Do you have any questions or comments?
Not right now, yeah, thank you.
Okay, and Mr. Rogers, you've signed up.
Yes, ma'am. Well, may it please the council, back again. Several observations here. First of all, I can't recall which one of the members of the council suggested that perhaps we needed to set up a meeting with the Lemurs to try to mediate this in some way. It might have been you, Ms. Mayor.
No, it was Mr. Johnson.
Okay, all right. After the meeting last month, we attempted to talk to Ms. Dana Lemur about possibly setting up a meeting, see what we could work out. And quite frankly, we were stiff-armed on this. And in reading the summary from Mr. Lemons, who also contacted Mrs. Dana Lemur to arrange a meeting, he met with the same results that we did. So they weren't interested in trying to resolve anything in any amicable manner. So we start with that premise here today. And I want to harken back to something I told you earlier last month, and that is my clients, the Moores, are not just trying to be horsey about this issue. They believe that one day their property, which goes all the way to Highway 67, could possibly in some manner utilize that right-of-way for some great purpose for the city. It would be one of the only accesses, even if it was a walking trail that was designed, down to the downtown area. It's the only way you could really do it, in a direct route from Highway 67. So their motivation is not to just be horsey. They believe that they would suffer a monetary loss as a result of what is being proposed here. So apparently what the Lemures are now proposing is that instead of 100 foot of abandonment of roadway, 99 feet. Now what would be the purpose of that? Well, it's pretty clear what the purpose of that is. And that is to circumvent the law. What the Lemures are asking you to do is to engage in a subterfuge here. That's what they're asking you to do. Because otherwise, the Moore's property does touch the old street there. And as such, the law is pretty clear that they would have a right to veto any attempt to abandon the roadway. So they want to go back 1 foot. They want you, the council here, to approve a resolution whereby they go back 1 foot, so they eliminate the property rights of the Moores. Now, I concur with the letter that you got. With reference to the ability of the city to abandon a portion of road. You don't have to abandon the entire roadway. You've got a right to do that, but that's not really the question here. The question is whether you're abusing your discretion in doing so. Because as I said a moment ago, what you're being asked to do is to obviously engage in a subterfuge here. The Moores have been residents here in Glen Rose for decades. They're property owners, they live here, they pay their taxes. They're good citizens. The Moores who don't live here in Glen Rose are wanting to engage in a for-profit enterprise, which, hey, look, this is America, that's okay, but not at other citizens' expense. Okay? Now that's my position.
Yes, sir. But
And,
that's your time. Thank you so
All right,
much.
I appreciate it,
that.
each and every one of
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a couple of people who have signed up to speak on that. I think, Mr. Moore, you were the only one who has signed up for 5C. Do you have any other questions or comments on that one after Mr. Rogers? Okay. Does
The Lemures are here, though.
I'm sorry.
The Lemures are here.
Okay.
They're item.
Mr. or Mrs. Lemure, would you like to speak?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. Thanks for taking this up again. I appreciate your time. First of all, it was our intent to have a second possible motion. It was recommended to us by city to come in at 99 feet as a backup to the 100 feet. So my request would be that the council look at 100 feet for a number of reasons. Very close friend of ours who's an attorney who has represented TxDOT for the past 10 years on easements and right-of-ways says that there are no common lot lines, that it is illogical that touch means abut. Abutting is having common property lot lines, and according to case law, the city can ultimately abandon the street and vacate the easement to the benefit of the municipality at large. I think that's also been brought up by the city attorney here. So it was not our attempt to move that down a foot to do any kind of anything. We believe that this will add to the vibrancy of downtown. It will add jobs to Glen Rose. I think that the city hired competent city employees. I hope that the city believes they're competent city employees, and they have already stated that this street cannot be built there. And then TxDOT obviously has some fairly competent engineers that have also stated the same. So for me, it's pretty simple. It's certainly not providing economic development or beautification to downtown as it sits. I also asked for documentation that other easements to properties behind our property, that they had been vacated, be given to us. And I was told that there are no documents that show that those easements have been vacated, so there should be ample access to properties around this property without having to use that. Additionally, I believe there was a petition submitted. I have not seen a petition. I heard about it at the last council meeting. My wife told me about it, where folks signed asking for support for this from the downtown business district. I think they believe that they can also add additional economic development to, or economic assistance to them as business owners. I don't know if that's public information, but I'd love to see the petition at some point. I don't know if one person signed it or, so that's all. I just respectfully request that the easement be vacated so that we can do something with that area of town and hopefully add economic development and, vibrancy, additional vibrancy to downtown.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I do have a question. I think this is for the Lemures. Is there a reason y'all wouldn't meet with the Moores or even with Mr. Lemons after he called? Was there a reason that you did refuse to do that?
I think there's a little bit of game playing going on here. I didn't have my attorney call to try and make a meeting, set a meeting. So when we first originally met with this back in October, we had a very long conversation outside. I provided my cell phone number and my information, which he should still have, to see if we could sit down and have lunch. And then I never heard from him. I heard from his attorney at the last meeting. So at this point, no, I don't plan on meeting with them and their attorney.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions or comments? Okay, this is up here,
Can you
please.
speak? I don't know if there are 3 minutes for that.
I did want to say that I did speak with Mr. Dana Lemire, sorry about that, and I live at 1378 County Road 327, Glen Rose, Texas, for 3 years now. I did speak with Mr. Lemons at length on the phone, and I explained to him that I felt that it was an unfair request to ask Mr. Lemons to serve as a mediator in that conference and any type of communication, because I felt that the issue was between this property and the city. And it remains there that this is a city decision, and that I was just staying focused on the ultimate outcome. And that's where that decision was made. So just to clarify that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? I have a comment. I've thought a lot about this, and I think we might consider, rather than abandoning everything, is to allow the Lemures to use the street, let them use it for parking, and even be able to put a portable building, something that could be moved if needed. Because I know we have to have an easement, we have to be able to get to that. But I think that would really be beneficial to both parties. And that way we aren't choosing one group over the other. I think their restaurant would be very, very beneficial to the city, and we are looking forward to that. But I think that's kind of a winning solution for both parties. No one's in the middle, no one's arguing. You would still have access to it. It might be there for 50 years. And yet, if something came up, then you would have plenty of time to move your structure. Chris?
This is for Michael. So did we ever come to, I guess, a complete definition as far as the 100-foot versus the 99-foot? I mean, you're talking about abutting the additional property. Does the corner point count as abutting the property? Is that what the letter from the TML?
No, TML didn't address that issue, and I don't have any, I don't know if our city attorney has an opinion on that. I don't have any insight onto the 99 versus 100 feet.
I think Councilman Brown, I mean, at this point in the request is, of course, as presented, the 99 foot, not the 100 foot, so I think that takes that issue away. So, I mean, ultimately, the only issue the Moores are left to argue if the council wishes to approve this and litigation was to ensue, would be that is that you guys have circumvented the intent of the law by passing an ordinance that vacated only 99 feet versus 100 feet. That way you avoided the abutting part, which would require the consent of the Moores. So that would be the only argument. I think they could really argue the court law would be that. Going against what the nature of the law is.
I guess, and this goes back to Mr. Lemire, you said I kind of missed it, but you talked about that you spoke to an attorney that said Do you mind coming up here, because I had a question. I just wanted to see if I understood that correctly. That you stated that the 100-foot request did not count as abutting the property? Or-
No, she said it is illogical that abut means to touch. That abut means there are common lot lines, and there are no common lot lines in a point. And then she went on to say another example of if you had multiple property owners, then you could have, 6 or 8 points on a potential easement, but it's not abutting.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that. One more question.
Okay.
But in the TMO response, it looks like they did give a response of a similar situation from a prior restaurant that did close down a partial street.
All that's talking about, Councilman Bryan, is just that what we talked about previously, that there's nothing unlawful. I mean, it's 100% permissible for the city to
Okay.
vacate just a portion of the street.
Okay,
And that's all that TMO is talking about, which we've discussed numerous times.
thank you.
Any other questions or comments, Mr. Martin?
I've got a question for the city attorney. What's your interpretation of that? We talked about it last meeting. If it does join, the properties to join, is it legal,
Well,
do it or not?
Councilman Martin, this time the request is there's no adjoining at all, and there's no abutting, adjoining, no common boundary line, because the request has been resubmitted with a new survey of 99 feet, not the 100 feet.
So I'm
So
talking 100 foot.
if there was 100 feet, like I said, that's not what the council has to consider tonight, because the request is only for the 99 feet, one that the Lemurs have presented. But if it was 100 feet, like I said, I think that, we've heard everybody have an opinion on that. I think that's why we have courts and lawsuits, to be honest with you. So I don't have an answer for that, where I can give you 100% certainty. And the same with it being 99 feet, I can't still tell you 100% certainty that alleviates you from any type of lawsuit or anything like that, because that's more than a position. We have a position. I think you guys as a council just have to make a decision, and we'll deal with whatever happens.
Mr. Martin?
I've got a comment. When we're talking about 100 foot at the last meeting, the way I interpret that, or the way I read it, is wrong, we couldn't do it. Because Mr. Moore said no, he was not in favor. Because he was going, felt like it was going to be a financial loss to him. Well, when you go back to 99 foot, same thing there, financial loss is still there, that doesn't go away, just because you change it 1 foot. So if it's wrong for the 100 foot.
I'll tell you real quick, Martin, on that issue, I think, so there's two claims we talked about last time, not to cut you off, but I think it's important. There's two distinctions. I think there'd be two claims you anticipate any property owner to bring against the city. Number one, that the vacation was illegal or unlawful, and that was where the abutting, the joining property line issue comes into play. The second issue, what you just talking about, is a taking claim, that we've taken somebody's property without fair market value or compensation. Like we talked about last time, I think that claim is far less inferior for the Moore position or any other position than the original claim is, can you vacate 99 feet or 100 feet? So when you look at where the property is at and how this has never been an access to the Moores, I just don't think that there's, I can't, of course, once again, promise you or guarantee you all anything at all, because I don't have a magic ball. But in my legal opinion, that claim that they might have is not as strong or as valid as the original claim is. The vacation is going to be illegal or not. So I'll let you continue. I'm sorry, but I think it's important.
Thank you. Thank you.
I may cut you off, Johnny. So
Okay.
sorry.
Any other questions?
I have a question for Dana Lemire. What are you planning on doing? Can you come up?
That was my question.
Yeah, what exactly are you planning on doing with the space?
Okay, so the space would serve as the ability for us to connect those two properties and be able to be utilized as a single property or extension of space, entertainment space, for the one restaurant.
Okay.
So again, there are two restaurants, two establishments that we're looking at.
Okay.
One would occupy the former Hollywood and Vine site, and one the two-story stucco building. So we kind of leave that one off to the side, right?
Okay.
The former Hollywood and Vine, Hollywood site, right, would be completely remodeled, restored all the way back to the historic structure with an addition on the back essentially, brought up to modern code and everything like that. And then it would have a stage that would enter or open towards that side area. That would allow that whole side area, so we would demo that gray building, that what I call the largest cat house in Glen Rose. We would demo that and open that area into a park-like area so that it could be used for concerts, car shows, homecomings, activities, all kinds of community space downtown that we don't currently have downtown. Our goal is to increase our sense of community and build that sense of community with a common gathering space. And so it's a large park-like area. And so having that access, knowing it's there, it's also really important for our funding, because that is one of the things that everybody who is interested in participating in the funding of this, it's that space there that they're most interested in. They're less interested in the restaurant
Okay,
itself.
so my question is, are you planning on building anything, or is it gonna be portable, where it could be taken down? A stage?
Well, yeah, we were planning on building stuff there, because that would allow for us to have things like VIP type of seating, which would be, permanent structures and so forth that would be focused towards the stage area.
And when you say a park, does that mean you're going to have that open to the community so that they could go in and use it whenever?
Our plan, part of our, master plan is to be able to make it so that it is very accessible for, I'm using the term park so that you can picture what it looks like.
Right.
Large, wide open space, whatever. We're trying to retain as many trees as possible and so on and so forth. But yes, we would love for the city to be able to use it. Like things like I'm saying, a car show. Wouldn't it be cool to have that space where?
Right, but if someone
that.
just wanted to go in and use it, are they going to be charged for that use?
We would love to work out a situation where it is, when it's in the public's best interest, that it not cost the city of Glen Rose. Now, when it's a private entity, that is going to be making money off of it, yeah, we'll charge for it,
Right.
sure. So I think there's different motivations there, but yes, so that was part of the original plan.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Oh.
Oh, Mr. Johnson.
I'm still a little unclear exactly as to the old Hollywood and Vine restaurant where
Right.
they had the stage in the back.
There is a stage back there,
Yeah.
correct?
Now, where are you planning on putting the stage, and which way will it be facing?
So the current plans allow for like a, if you could picture like a 3-point stage like this. So 1 point will be inside of the restaurant itself, smaller for like, say like a singer-songwriter, a rainy night, something like that. And that will be the bulk of the use, okay? The other will open into that side area that we've all been in before, I'm sure, and that area will be redesigned to allow for greater flow and more accessibility for, a variety of like barrier-free entertainment and so forth. And then the third opening to what I'm calling like the park-like area with more open seating and possibly picnic tables or different types of seating that can be moved and relocated depending on the particular event. Something like that, that kind of magnitude of event, we anticipate happening far less often than the use of the other two. So, did that clarify?
Well, I think I'm still a little unclear as to exactly what you will be doing on what is now Elm Street.
So, all we're trying to do is clear that space,
Mhm.
okay, from where the gray house is now. Can you picture that gray house?
Oh, yeah, I know
Okay.
the Gray House well.
Okay, so if you remove the gray house and then you go all the way over, right, that space allows for the continuity. It also happens to be the place that is closest and most connected to the stage where we could have VIP type of seating. Okay?
Where the gray house is.
Not where the gray house is, where the easement is that is in question.
Okay.
Okay? And can
I think
Thank
you
you.
have something.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Ms. Carpenter? Whitaker, I'm sorry.
Sandra Whitaker, 1804, Unit C, North Street, Venice. I'm pretty stupid, and I'll admit that. What I can't understand is why the city is involved at this time of moment to start with. Moore's has got their lawyer. I don't see why they have their lawyer. Why don't they go to court before we even have to worry about being sued or whatever? Let the other court decide who's on the line or who's not. And then the city, whenever they come to that conclusion, then the city get involved and decide whether to give up that street or not.
Do you want to speak on that? No? Yeah.
That's right, and wrong is wrong.
Thank you.
Nobody's got to be right.
I mean, you said it all.
Mr. Bryant?
I guess what I wanted to say is all the information that's been provided and all my thoughts that I put into it, and I understand we have two potential business owners, two property owners that want to share within the same access of the street to downtown. But the Moores, actually, to me, they have a plan as of right now that says, hey, we're ready to get started. We've got a business that's going to benefit the entire downtown, business owners, and Glen Rose as a whole. We've already established that there can never be a street there. We've established that TxDOT has said the radius of the drop is not going to work. We've established that City Works has said that street recommendations won't fit the ordinance for Glen Rose as far as the 30 feet. There's not enough property there. The one good thing that I feel comfortable about my opinion in this is that the Moores do have a big enough property to where they have multiple options for access and entry points into the property. As far as a downtown path from the Moores property, there is a nice sidewalk that comes down through this Live Oak right around the corner. Nice sidewalk that comes in right directly to downtown. So right now we've been going on this for months and months. We've got lawyers involved, and most importantly, we've got our city attorney involved. That's given us the support and enough information to provide to us to say, you know what, here's your information. Council can make that decision, and we feel pretty comfortable right now with the research that we have that, if we are faced with litigation, then feel pretty confident of a dismissal. So, Mayor, I would like to go ahead and make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion.
No, I'd like to, can I make a motion?
Yes.
I want to make a motion that we approve the request from the Moores to vacate 99 feet of the unimproved portion of Elm Street.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilman
I have a
Bryant.
question.
Okay.
Before,
Yeah.
to give them the property? Is that what you're motioning? To give them or let them use the property?
To turn over the property, yes.
To vacate.
To vacate?
Can I make a comment with it?
I'm sorry.
Can I make a comment? We
Yes.
ask for a second.
Yes, please.
I kind of think we're kind of on ground that we're probably going to end up paying attorney fees before this is over with. So it's just going to be a cost, maybe end up being a cost to the city if we decide to do this.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Okay, here's the thing. We've talked, every one of us who runs for council, we talk about helping business owners, helping to revitalize Glen Rose as a whole downtown. And here we've got an opportunity that we've been working on for over a year, and we just keep setting aside. We have no definite answer of what's going to happen to the Moores property. We don't even know if that can be sold for anything, can be done, whatever development it could be. You don't even need access to the downtown through that way. But we know it can't be the street, which was definitely the first argument about why we should not close that street. But now we just keep getting faced with different options as this goes on. And we've dealt with this long enough, and the Lemurs have a business, they're ready to get started to help our downtown association, help all of our businesses, and help Glen Rose and provide jobs. That's what I'm saying, that's what we all ran on. Let's move forward, let's get this done. Let's, tabling it, being worried about lawsuits, we get threatened with lawsuits all the time. I mean, the
Okay.
city's going to, so
Okay, so we have a motion. Do I have a second? We have a motion and a second to vacate the unimproved portion of Elm Street. All in favor, please raise your hands. And, okay, we have 2. All opposed, raise your hands. We have 3. The motion fails. There again, I suggest you talk and talk with Mr. Lemons, but I think use things and, use it the way for your parking and if you need to build something, as long as it's movable, that's my feelings on that. And
I
we appreciate all you
100%,
do.
yes, I want them to do it and I want them to use it.
Yes.
Yes,
And I want them to use it.
we
Mayor,
absolutely want you
I
to use it.
Mayor, I want to make a statement. This is a big failure for the city of Glen Rose. This is a huge failure, and each council member that voted against this, you remember what you're doing to downtown, because you are working against new
Well,
business
we don't
owners
have to
to
be
come.
talking
Okay,
like, yeah.
we've already voted, that's over.